Okay, in this video I'm going to try to help with the understanding of the owner statements so that as you read them, it'll hopefully help you get through this and understand a little bit better what's going on. Of course, if there are any questions, you can always contact our office. The first thing you want to do is you will notice that each person who is considered an owner or a part of the ownership entity of the property will be listed up here, or one person will, and then each individual owner will have their own set of statements. So if you've got two people that are considered owners of the property, two statements will be sent. One person that's considered owner of the property, one statement will be sent. The next thing you want to look at is the owner statement, the dates. So we're always going to have that date start the day after the last money was dispersed and end on the day of this period in which we will disperse money. So we will stop on the 17th, and many times we're reviewing transactions on the 18th and 19th of the month that happened all the way up through the 17th. And then when we disperse out, the date for the disbursement will show up here so that this statement will be an accurate reflection of inflows and outflows and then money that comes to you. So the first thing you'll notice is what they call the portfolio summary. This is just where you can see all of the income and expenses kind of lumped together in one spot so that you can just get a good, quick, down and dirty understanding of what happened with the property in the past month. The previous balance is very much like a checking account at a bank, how they will have beginning deposits, withdrawals, and then ending balances. The same concept works here, is that we want to have your previous balance, which is would be through, on this one, September 15th. So your previous statement should have this amount showing at the end of September 15th, and then the beginning balance should be the same here for this statement. So whatever your ending balance was on the prior statement should be the same, that should say the same as your previous balance here. And then you have income. General would be if you had some income that came into your portfolio that was not affiliated with a property exactly. So this owner has multiple properties, and you'll notice that I have redacted a lot of the information that would give this stuff away just to protect the privacy. But generally you might have an insurance reimbursement that comes to an owner, and they want us to put it on here, and they've got an umbrella policy for all of their properties. That would show up, say, as an expense in the general or an income in general, depending on how they would request that item to be classified. But you'll see here we've got income, general, and then each individual property, expense, general, each individual property. If we were doing some work with you as an owner, and you have multiple properties and we're doing it on the portfolio as far as positioning, strategizing, that may show up on the general expense and not be allocated to one individual property. Then we have other income and other expenses. Other income may be if somebody had parking that they're getting paid for, it may show up in here. There's usually not a lot of activity in the other income and other expense categories. And then you have owner contributions and owner draws. So owner contributions would be any money that you as the owner gave to us during that time period. And then owner draws would be any money that we took out of the account for you during that time period. And then ending balance is going to be what was left in the account at the end of the last day of this statement. And many times it's going to equal also the portfolio minimum. So if the ending balance is less than the portfolio minimum, then you'll actually have a negative due to owner. So if this was an ending balance of $550, we have a portfolio minimum of $750, then we would have due to owner as negative $200. So that means that we either are going to take $200 out of the next round of rents to get back up to the portfolio minimum, or we're going to ask the owner to give us $200 to bring it back up to the minimum. If there are unpaid bills, those will show up in here also, and that will also affect the due to owner. So if the portfolio minimum, if the ending balance is $550, the portfolio minimum is $750, and there's another say $800 in unpaid bills, the due to owner may show $1,000, which means that we need $100 or $800 to pay the unpaid bills, and another $200 to get it back up to the portfolio minimum. So this can get a little confusing, but just always remember that this is kind of where you ended at, where you need to be, and then the combination of these right here, your ending balance and unpaid bills, will most likely show up as what it says on here, due to owner. Your ending balance may be more than $750, so if you had unpaid bills of $200, your ending balance may show $950, portfolio minimum, $750, unpaid bills $200, due to owner would probably still show $0. So this can get a little tricky, a little confusing, but just remember, we're always holding back money for unpaid bills, and we'll always need to make sure that we are filling the reserve with every disbursement. So let's move down a little bit further now. We're past what we would call the portfolio summary, and now we're going to move down to what are a little bit more details. So general income and expense, and that was, again, the first line up here, general. So if there were any transactions listed in there, they would show up here under general income and expense, but we have nothing here. Owner draws do show up because an owner draw is for the entire portfolio if you have multiple properties, or if you have just one property, it'll just be one amount right there. Now we get into the details of each property. You have income and expenses, and then you have the property address. It's really important to make sure when you're looking at this, what we do is we will show each charge that was paid. We aren't going to show just their lump sum payment. We want you to also see what they were paying off. So this tenant paid in a sum of money, and they were paying off some late fees. And if you think, they must have sent in however many checks right here, that's not actually what happened. Is that if they send us one payment and we use it to pay multiple charges, you'll see the reference number will be the same when we can say, okay, this reference number is the same as this reference number that was for that amount, is the same as this reference number right here. And that's basically how you can tie together how much they actually paid in one payment. But we want you to know what they paid for, so that if there are any charges that we don't, or if you're wondering if anybody has paid you for anything, you can see over here in this left-hand column exactly what they paid for. If they're reimbursing for maintenance, repairs, or anything like that, the type will show up over here, and that's how you can tell, okay, yes, they did pay me back for some maintenance charges, or they did pay for this, that, or whatever that might be. So really important to look at this left column to see the type of charge that they paid off. These all reflect a charge or multiple charges that were on their ledger. So this is, again, a type of charge that they paid. Then we have under description the address of the unit that was paying, and then you'll also have the name of the tenant right here where I've redacted or blacked out. Then you'll also have the date that the payment was received in here, and you'll have also the reference number, and of course here's the amount of the charge that was paid off. Sorry for this little awkward break. My phone was messing up the recording. So that's how you can tell in the income what has been paid in, what's been paid towards, who paid it, when they paid it, the reference number to be able to tie it back to how much each payment was. So you take the reference numbers, add the same, add them up, that's how much the payment was, and then this is the amount of the charge over here that they paid. So now we're going to drop down here into the expense category, and you'll see right here, again, the same thing, type, description, comments, date, reference number. So type, management fees base right here. This is the base amount that we charge every month. Description would be whoever it was paid to. Comments, monthly base management fee. Date, the date that it was paid. Reference number. these reference numbers mean a few different things. This stands for auto bill monthly base fee residential. So this just means that this is something that we automatically are charging. It's the monthly base fee. If you see this, you're not going to really be able to tie it to anything on your side. This helps us understand, though, if you have questions, what it's going towards. This right here can sometimes be confusing to some of the owners. Unfortunately, the software that we use does not allow us to break this out to what each individual charge was. So this right here, since we're a non-traditional company, we don't fit into traditional management softwares very well. So this is, this right here is our base fee, and then any additional charges for late fees that have been taken, if there's a percentage of something that we are getting, or if there's convenience fees that we've charged the tenant that we're taking out, that'll show up right here. And it always shows up as a lump sum. One way to maybe look at it is that on this one, we did have late fees that were paid. The late fees are right here, so sorry, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 late fees that were paid. I'm not going to take you through the calculation, but they would most likely total or at least be a portion of this amount right here. So that's how you can kind of see. Really important to look over here under the type section to see what the item was, and then reference numbers. We'll get into a little bit more other reference numbers and some of these other items. Again, we go down other income, other expenses, and then total net income. So this is the total net income that was for this one property. It is not for the all the properties. So total income, expenses, total net income, other income, other expense, total net income. Now it takes you over to another property. And again, same thing with this, type of payment that was paid, description, comments, date, reference number. So they sent us a check. Their reference number is 2098. This is what they paid. Expense, and here again we've got the base fee. And then over here we have plumbing repair, drain guy. What we always try to do is put the work order number in here and the reference number, so that we can tie that expense back to the work order that was done, that generated this. Sometimes when on emergencies we don't get a work order in quickly to be able to get a work order for it done. But if you ever have any questions, we can always tell you which work order was for, in case you're wondering. But again, plumbing repair, drain guy, LLC, comments. We're now attaching the invoices to the bill, not to the work orders anymore. This is an old statement, but the invoices are going to be attached to the bill that you see online. You'll want to click on attachments to the bill, not show invoice, because the invoice that's generated on there is a generic software generated invoice. The details with the bill itself will actually be in the attachments to that bill. Again, with this one, total income, total expenses, net operating income, same thing. We get down to there. Again, same thing right through here, pretty much identical as some of the previous ones. Another property right here, same thing, kind of run through that. Now, when we're going to get down here to unpaid bills. Unpaid bills would be bills that are in the system that we have not paid or paid in full yet. So the system will always hold back money from your disbursement to give us the ability to pay these bills, because we need to pay the vendors. So if you see any unpaid bills in there, or you're wondering why your disbursement was not as much as what you thought it would be for the net income, it's probably because there's some unpaid bills in here. So check through these. Once these have been paid, they will move into the expense section of the property that they were paid for. So unpaid bills down here does not mean an expense. It just means we've held back the money to be able to pay that. The money is still in the account. Once it leaves the account to pay for that bill, it will move into the expense section of that property. And then we also have security deposits. We have a breakdown of every security deposit that we're holding for you, the location, the tenant name, and then if you have multiple properties, we'll have a total down here. If you just have one property of $600, and then it would probably just say $600 down here. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us at the office. We'll be happy to help you. find your way through. Thank you.